Okay, Stump My Nephew. Every week we have my nephew Sam on and we ask him a question that you sent in. The question has to be, of course, about guns, gun trivia, gun history, anything having to do with function, military, whatever. If you send us a question and we ask it on the air, we'll send you a hat or a shirt. And if you stump my nephew, then you're going to get a very special prize. So, Sam, how you doing, man?
I'm well. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
Good.
Doing good. So I think we have a good question. I'll be interested to see. This is one of those questions where I honestly can see it going either way because I know you know the subject, but I'm wondering if this little kind of like nitpicky little fact is something that you've ever come across. But I could also see you completely knowing this up and down. But anyway, without further ado, Alicia, you want to read the question?
Sure. All right, Sam. So we have our question today from Sarah, and Sarah comes from Murrieta, and she's asking, the Lee Enfield is a bolt-action magazine-fed repeating rifle that served as the main firearm of the military forces of the British Empire and Commonwealth during the first half of the 20th century, and was the standard service rifle of the British Armed Forces from its official adoption in 1895 until 1957. Bit of history there. Here's the actual question. What is the origin of the name?
Sarah from Murrieta, thank you very much for writing in. I like questions like this that have a little bit of background. They remind me of Jeopardy or something. The Lee Enfield, what's the origin of the name? Enfield refers to the Royal Small Arms Factory at Enfield, which I believe is now defunct. But that's where it's either where the design work was completed or where they began manufacture. I'm not positive, but I know Enfield comes from the name of RSAF Enfield, the factory there, the government-owned arsenal there. Lee comes from the name of James Paris Lee, he invented the box magazine. This is one of those things that there are all these things we take for granted nowadays that someone had to invent at some point, like the box magazine, the thing where it's a spring and a follower and you put rounds in and then they come out the top. That he invented that. James Paris Lee invented that. So his magazine system went into the Lee Enfield. It went into the Remington Lee that the U.S. Navy used in small numbers in the late 19th century. And of course, the same basic magazine design would become ubiquitous. I mean, if you carry a Glock, it has a box magazine. If you carry basically any semi-automatic pistol and rifle, with very few exceptions in the modern world, uses some form of box magazine that traces its origin to James Paris Lee.
So when you're using it on your firearms, because it takes about 3 cleanings, so I like to say it's a clean shoot, clean shoot, clean shoot process, much like seasoning a cast iron skillet. So you're going to field strip your firearm, break it down, and then you're going to put our product on piece by piece by piece, covering the entire firearm. Then you're going to take the barrel, you're going to clean the barrel inside of that, and then you come back and you wipe it all off, and you're done. It's that easy. Remember, seal one and done.
It's become so ubiquitous that you have to, originally a magazine was just the area in the gun or even on a ship where you store the ammunition, and now it's almost odd if it doesn't have a detachable magazine, you have to clarify that it has an internal magazine. If you just say magazine, people know what you're talking about. You're talking about a detachable magazine, but if you have like a bolt action, Remington 30S, and you talk about the magazine, you're talking about the internal compartment in the gun that doesn't detach, and you actually have to clarify that it doesn't have a magazine rather than a detachable magazine. I think it's an excellent point. All right, what did he get it right or what?
Yes.
Did he?
100% correct.
Literally almost every
Absolutely.
word in the answer was said by.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James
if I
Paris
may.
Lee. Go ahead.
In the early days of magazine fed, regardless of the type of magazine, but even with box magazines, in the early days of magazine fed repeating military rifles, the theoretical advantage of having more rounds on tap wasn't always realized because you still had to load the thing one by one. So it would take you effectively the same amount of time in total to load 10 rounds and fire 10 rounds as it would to load and fire 10 rounds one at a time from a non-repeating rifle. It wasn't until the clip was developed that magazines really became advantageous as more than something just a backup ammunition supply for if your position was being overrun. And you can see this in some military rifles from around the turn of the last century. So even M1903 Springfields, early ones used in the First World War, have a little magazine cutoff on the side. And the purpose for that was that doctrine at the time in the United States and in European militaries was to single load and single fire your rounds until you needed to use the magazine, then flip the oh crap switch and fire off your 5 rounds or 10 rounds from a Lee Enfield. So it's kind of a two-part invention. The magazine is great, but it becomes really useful when you can load all the rounds at once with a stripper clip or with an end block clip if it's something like a Carcano or a Mannlicher or something like that.
Nice. Good information. You know what the most annoying magazine trivia is of all time? I don't know how many people have proudly told me that, the M16's magazine was originally supposed to be disposable. I'm like, yeah, I know, man. This is like the 150th time. You're not the only one that knows that. But the people who tell me that over and over and over again are so proud of themselves for knowing the most common factoid about the M16 that ever existed. And I'm like, all right, man, okay. Over and over and over, I get that. That's
well, I can do you one better with annoying magazine trivia, and it applies to the M16 too.
Okay.
So people, well, this isn't really trivia. It's the other way around. It's a factoid.
Okay.
People refer to AR-15 type magazines, regardless, like as a general term, whether they're aluminum GI mags or Magpul P mags or steels or whatever. They refer to them as STANAG magazines, which is short for Standardization Agreement. It's NATO terminology for a rule that, well, it's a standardization agreement. It's in the name. They're very creative. But it refers to Standardization Agreement, or STANAG 4179, which is a draft STANAG. It was never ratified. Stop calling them that.
That's so far over my head.
I think he's.
All right, fair enough. All right, you got it right. James Paris Lee, the Scottish-Canadian American firearms designer, and of course the Royal Small Arms Factory in Enfield Loch, England. Mm-hmm. That is what makes up the name of the Lee Enfield. So
I'm glad you got a good solid win after last week's question.
Yeah, right. Although I don't know if we should give it to him. I mean, he got it all right, but he didn't give James Paris Lee's birth date. And they clearly provided that it was 1831 and he died on 1904. I guess we'll let it slide this time. Good job, Sam. Always a pleasure. You do a great job. Thank you, Sarah from Marietta, for submitting this question, but you did not stump my nephew. So,
well, thanks for having me on, as always. And one more thing to all of you listening, I have a blog post that's been up for a little while now. That has a survey attached to it. And I need you all to fill out the survey because not enough people have done it. And I want to collect more data so it's useful. So please go fill that out. That's
Where do we go?
Going now.
Yep. What's
that
the
is on the Gun Owners Radio blog. The blog post is called Help Me Collect Concealed Carry Data or something along those lines. Did I get it right?
It'll be easy to find. Enough. Okay, got it.
I don't think, So
Help me collect concealed carry data.
Go to gunownersradio.com/blog and find the blog that is anywhere near the name he just talked or he just told us. So, and I'm sure you'll get the right one. So there you go.
There you are.
Cool, man. We'll fill it out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Hey, thanks for watching Gun Owners Radio. I hope you loved that clip. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on social media, and check out our website at gunownersradio.com.